Joining us now is a friend of Save the Nation, Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey. Sheriff, welcome to Save the Nation.
Thanks, sir. Thank you for having me back, man. Thank you guys for all you're doing to help protect our country.
And thank you, Sheriff. Americans are struggling in a lot of ways right now. And it is crazier, it seems, Sheriff, than ever at the border. Why is the border so open like it is?
Well, the border is not only open, but they've given an invitation to everybody to come to our country illegally. And, you know, when you look at he's because of this Omicron virus, they're shutting down entries from other countries, but they're inviting people to come here illegally from across our southern border. So it's insane. There is no other way to put it. The word insanity applies to this at all levels. We as a nation are trying to recover from not only the coronavirus, but the econovirus that followed the coronavirus. And now we're facing this again where, I can't understand it. Logic doesn't apply. And my brothers and sisters out at the border, what they're dealing with out there is just crazy. And we need to get it fixed. Congress needs to act and get this done.
Sheriff, from a law enforcement perspective, how do we Americans help you get control of our southern border, or how do we secure our country again?
Yeah, one of the first things I would do is I would ask everybody watching, go to protectamericanow.com. Look where sheriffs from all across the country have joined together. Sheriffs from all different walks of life joined together, not only to fight what's happening at the border, but to fight this attack on our Constitution and our freedoms, our liberties. And so what I would say to all of our citizens is educate yourself on the different critical issues that are taking place. Contact your elected leaders and tell them you either fix this problem or we're going to fix the problem in Washington, which I think is what it's really going to take, is fix that problem in Washington by putting new conservative leadership in there that's going to understand that America's number one job is to protect its citizens. That's government's one and only responsibility, is protect their citizens, but yet it's being ignored at all levels.
Absolutely, Sheriff, and thank you so much for standing boldly and doing just that. And we want to stand with you. Now, having said that, let me ask you this. Are there transmissible diseases that are coming across our borders that perhaps the news media, the mainstream so-called news media, is ignoring and not telling the American people about?
Oh, absolutely, without question. The problems that exist at that border extend from not only diseases that are coming across the border, the coronavirus, but also extend into the drug overdoses, the fentanyl, increased trafficking in fentanyl, human trafficking, attacks on humanity. The list goes on. And what's important for everybody to remember is that the illegal border crossings, the impact of it's not stopping at the border. It's filtering into every community. Here in the state of Florida, we just had an illegal that killed a member of our community up in Jacksonville. That's not just one story. Those stories happen all the time. But unfortunately, those stories aren't heard on most of the mainstream media out there. It takes stations like we're talking about right here that are bringing out the real truth, the information that law enforcement is giving them and saying, this is what we're dealing with. Again, the only word that applies is insanity.
So crime is the new problem that's crossing our border at this point, would you say, Sheriff?
I would say 1,000%. Crime is what's happening at the border goes not only into the crime wave, but it takes away jobs from our citizens. It impacts us, our tax base, everything else. In fact, it even impacts our law enforcement officers because we're spending so much time and resources trying to stop the floodgates. We're having to expend resources we would be putting into protecting neighborhoods and community events and things of that nature. So when you look at it across the board, the biggest problem that faces America right now is the illegal border crossings that are now lending to other criminal activity, whether that's gang activity, that's increased drug trafficking, human trafficking, all of those combined. And then you put on top of it the icing on the cake, if you will, the people that are coming across the border, not even being checked to see if they have the virus, and then are being put on flights, secret flights into areas and taken to those communities that have no idea what they've been exposed to.
Sheriff, continue to fight the good fight. We thank you so much for being a friend of the show. We'll speak to you next time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, and thanks again for all you're doing.